What up, fish friends? We got a real fun video today. Follow along as I set up this 6-foot long or 125 gallon aquarium. The plan for this tank is to create kind of a creek bed vibe. Going to be using some round Mexican beach pebbles that look like river stones, and then some massive driftwood that one of my clients was super kind and gifted to me. But there's just going to be a few really big chunks like this. I want to create a cave in here and have sand running around the outside with plants along the inside. I'm just kind of practicing with the stones here. The plan is actually to take them all out so that I can glue the wood down first and then create like a little barricade right behind where I'm putting the rocks now. That way I can block the sand and soil from mixing with each other, so that that I get a good crisp look with the sand and that the soil doesn't spill forward. Just using silicone, I just blotch it out on a piece of cardboard and use a stick to get in, because the caulk gun is going to be way too big and bulky to get into all these nooks and crannies. But yeah, it's important that you do want to weigh your wood down. You can either glue it like I'm doing, or you can put rocks on top of it. But once this tank gets filled with water, this wood's going to want to float. And then I'm going through with some sponge and filling all these big gaps. Like I mentioned, I want the soil to stay in the back. That's where the plants will be grown. And then the front's going to be some nice light colored sand. Once that soil pours onto it, it's going to look all dirty and grody. So really making sure to put in some good effort and seal up all of these gaps and cracks everywhere. You can kind of think of it as a raised bed or planter in your garden where you're growing some tomatoes or something that's separate from your lawn, or maybe some mulch landscaping. Here's that soil that I've been talking about. It's designed for growing plants, aqua soil. I have a few different types: fluval stratum, and then Landon aqua soil, and then this mix of used stuff that I'm gonna cap it off with, and then go through here and put some root tabs down as well. Now that the soil's in the back, you can kind of see these different layers I was talking about. I'm gonna fill the front up with sand. It's Carib Sea Supernaturals. It's a little bit pricey, but it's very, very soft, which is good for cories that sift the sand through their gills. Catfish are kind of an emphasis of this tank, so I want to make sure that they're going to be happy. Not to mention, it adds a really, really cool natural look to the tank. Okay, with all the sand in place, I can come back and add those stones back. There's no point in adding sand on top of them, because then you won't get to see the stones. Plant time. Best part of setting up any planted tank are the plants. So this left area here is going to be pretty grassy. There's going to be some shorter pygmy chainswords, Helianthum tenellum, and then some val here, some cypress halfrey as well, some sedges, and then some stem plants going to the right. I'm covering this chunk of driftwood with Java fern, mostly Windelove Java fern, some African water fern, a little bit of moss, some Hygrophila pinnatophyta. It's just going to be jam-packed with plants along the top. And then the other island of plants is going to have a bunch of stem plants and then some swords kind of veering to the right. Here we are 6 months down the road. Plants have filled in really well. There's a little bit of algae in the tank. It's not really visible from where you're looking at, but as soon as you get close up into things, you can really see it. So let's talk about the equipment on this tank, a little bit of maintenance, the species in there, all that sort of stuff. Let's talk about livestock in this tank. There are so many cool species in here. Obviously, the first fish that anyone asks me about when they come over are the boesemani rainbows. The males are bright blue and orange, and then the females are a little bit more of a duller color, but they're still really gorgeous. They're kind of yellow, green, emerald color, a bit of bronze, and then they have that stripe horizontally going down the side, whereas dominant males like this guy have those two kind of darker blue stripes in between the orange and blue spotches. These are still relatively young boesemani rainbows. That means that their color is still filling in. As they get older, that blue and orange is really gonna pop. Some other fun fish in this tank are glow light danios. I've had them for a few years. Absolutely stunning fish. They are a little bit more on the shy side. They like to take cover in the caves and then back in the plants and that sort of stuff. They are very hungry fish that always come out for feeding, and you can usually see them in this cave area under there swimming around. The other big school of fish I have in here are rainbow shiners. These guys have picked up a lot of color since I purchased them, maybe like 2 months ago, but they haven't hit their spawning mode. When they go into spawning or breeding mode, they pick up so much color. Definitely one of the most charismatic fish in the tank is the cockatoo apistogramma. This guy is so much fun, always out and about, looking for food most of the time. He is a hungry fish. He fills up big time during feedings. You can see like his belly, how big it looks now. Yeah, he's a really fun dwarf South American cichlid. He doesn't mess with any other fish. Super peaceful. I'm keeping just him alone, no females, because I don't really want any breeding in this tank, and I don't want him to get super territorial. Catfish. I got tons of catfish in this tank. I love my Cory cats. There's two different types. There are concolor Corys, which I had to look up. Concolor means one color. Kind of a bad name for these guys because they're clearly like two colors, bicolor Corys, I would call them. They have these orange fins and then kind of a gray iridescent body. The other type of Cory are Venezuelan high fins. They get a lot chubbier than the concolors. Real pretty fish. They've bred maybe 3/4 of the Venezuelan high fins bred in this tank. I took them out and reared them and then put them back in here because these rainbows are relentless. They would chow down on any potential thing that fits in their mouth, like literally anything. They are voracious feeders. And then I can't forget to talk about the pseudo hemiodon. It's a whiptail catfish. They didn't have the best start. I used to keep them with banjo catfish, and I think they got into a fight. The banjo beat the hell out of one of them, and then this guy's eyes got infected and lost both of them, so he's blind. But he does just fine looking for food. As soon as I drop food in, he scuttles up and goes around. This is a safe tank for him at this point. There is no one that's going to bully him. Pretty funny. He'll spend most of his day laying in the sand, so much so that he's got blackbeard algae growing on his back. I've never seen a fish that's accumulated algae on them before. For algae control, I have my bristlenose pleco. Does a great job of keeping the wood clean. Not so great at cleaning plants and little rocks and stuff. For that, I got Autosynclus, the best algae eating fish in my opinion. I got probably about 15 of them in here. And then I have some pedicure or manicure fish. These guys were a recent find for me. Really fun fish. They go around agitating the detritus and biofilm. They are constantly munching, nibbling, cruising around the whole tank. Really fun fish. And when I stick my hand in there for maintenance, they'll actually come up and start nibbling on the dead skin cells on my body. Like one of the only fish that you can kind of interact with in a tropical tank. They are so much fun. I really, really love them. So to start off with, I'm running two big old canister filters on here. I do think that canisters are the most effective way at filtering a big planted tank like this. Once you start getting any larger, you're probably looking at a sump, but I really love these canisters, Oase Biomasters. They only take a few minutes to clean out every week, and then they have a built-in heater, which just kind of reduces the amount of equipment that you see in the tank. I am running CO2 on this tank and really heavy lighting, as well as moderate fertilizer usage. I'm dosing micros and macros separately since I do feed really heavy in this tank. There's a lot of big fish in here. Well, not big fish, but a lot of decent sized fish with big appetites. And I got heavy fingers, so they get tons of food. And I kind of lay off the macros a little bit and do a little bit of heavier micro fertilizing. I'm running a couple Chihiros WRGB2s for lights on this tank. They are very strong lights intended for growing plants, and they do a real terrific job at it. But I think I've been running them too high, kind of in combination with having a hard time balancing CO2, fertilizer, and lighting. Normally, that's something that I'm pretty good at, but for some reason, I've struggled with this tank. The plants just aren't taking off like I really hoped they would. What I'm going to do, since I'm disappointed with how this tank has turned out, I mean, obviously, the tank looks pretty decent, but I keep having to cut back leaves. Something like this Anubias just gets coated in blackbeard algae and hair algae, and my Java ferns too. Like they could actually be growing a lot more. The stem plants, as soon as they get up to the top of the tank, they just get coated in algae. So part of that problem is, like I mentioned before, finding a balance between those three. Maybe part of it is the minerals in the tank. Part of it also, this is a pretty deep tank, and so in order for light to make it to the bottom of the tank, I gotta blast it pretty hard, and then anything at the top of the tank is just getting smothered in algae. So what I'm going to do is do away with the CO2, switch these lights out for something weaker, right? These are really expensive lights. There's no point in putzing around with them at 50 or 40 or even 30%. I can just use some night crews or hikers, something way cheap. And then I'm going to get rid of all of these kind of difficult plants, the red ones that are slower growing stems, more finicky ones. Replace them with super, super hardy plants. Probably just octopus plant, Pogostamen stellatus octopus. That guy grows so quick. It's just going to fill in all these corners, make it a real jungly tank, and then it's going to create shade over these rocky Anubias, Java fern areas that have been picking up a lot of algae, just kind of driving me nuts. So I think that's going to be a real great approach. It's going to mean less maintenance for me, less scrubbing algae, less blasting light. And as far as the fish goes, I don't think it's really going to bother him either way. As far as maintenance, I clean this tank out probably about 3 times a month, maybe every 10 days or so. I come in here and do 50-ish% water change, do maintenance on the filters, scrub the glass, all that sort of stuff. I feel like I spend a lot of time just pulling algae out of this tank, hair algae, blackbeard, all that sort of stuff, clipping leaves off. I just want things to grow and fill in. So I'm excited to start with this change here. Maybe even today I'll go through and switch the lights out, turn the CO2 off, turn the fertilizer way down, and kind of evolve this tank into a low, maybe medium tech tank. I'm still running decent filtration on here, but really excited to watch the jungle fill in, and a little bit sad that I'll be sacrificing some of those reds and pink colors on the plants and certain species. But overall, I want the fish to be the highlight of this tank, which they will continue to be. So yeah, let me know, what do you think of this tank? If this was your tank, would you be a little disappointed with algae in here, or would you just live with it? Would you make the changes that I'm talking about? Or would you try and optimize the tank, pump more CO2 in, more fertilizer, all that stuff? Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your support for this channel. Please hit that like, subscribe button, purchase something through an affiliate link if you want to support me and see more videos. Some free ways to support me would just to be watch some other videos. Thanks so much. Have a great one. See ya.